our 2013 Jeep Wrangler, you're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to show you how to install the Roadmaster Diode 7 to 6 wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit, part number RM-15267. The 5 main components for a flat tow setup are your braking system, your wiring, your tow bar, your safety cables, and your base plate. This is what our diode kit looks like when it's fully installed. This is going to give you all the proper lighting functions to safely flat tow your vehicle. One thing to keep in mind, if you're installing a braking system, you will need a brake light relay for this vehicle. You can find it on our website using part number RM-88400. Here we have your Flexo-Coil. It's going to give you your 7-pole side, it's going to hook into your RV, your 6-pole side, it's going to hook into your towed vehicle or your Jeep Wrangler. You're going to get your 30-foot of wire that you're going to be running from the front, from your 6-pole plug to the back to the tail lights, where you're going to connect the diodes into your factory tail light wiring. You're going to get your 7-pole plug. It's going to mount to the front of the vehicle. The bracket to mount that. You're also going to get some wire loom to cover any wires that may be showing. Some zip ties to tidy up that wire that's running from the front of the vehicle to the back. You're also going to get a butt connector, a self-tapping screw for your ground wire, and the ring terminal for your ground wire. What this kit's going to do for you, it's going to provide you with the proper lighting functions to safely flat tow your vehicle. Those signals are going to come from your RV, for instance your blinker, brake lights, running lights, are going to travel through your Flexo-Coil, through this wire, to your tail lights on your vehicle. The diodes are going to be constructed of a durable aluminum, so they're going to be corrosion resistant. What the diodes are going to do for you is they're going to protect your factory wiring from any backfeed from your RV if your RV has a wiring issue. Now that we've talked about what our diode kit does and shown you what's going to come in your kit, let me show you how to get it installed. So what we have found with our bracket that comes in our kit to mount our wiring, the bumper beam doesn't come all the way out here. This is all plastic here. Our bumper beam actually stops right about here. If we were to mount it right there, our wiring would have to go through here and then hit our base plate. We don't have enough room. So what you're going to need to do, pick up a short bracket. It's part number 18140. You can see how I have it modified here. It'll mount just like this. We'll use some self-tapping screws. If you don't have any of those, you can find those here at etrailer.com. It doesn't matter what size, as long as they're small enough to go through the holes. So that's going to mount like that, and then our bracket is going to mount just like that. It's going to stay flush with our bumper, it's not going to stick out, but it's going to give us enough room for our 6-pole plug to mount. We can drill a small hole right here instead of a large hole for the whole thing. Small hole to run our wire through. It's going to come out underneath our base plate, and we can fill that hole with our grommet, part number A11GB. Now this is a personal preference. If you don't want it, the hole's fine with you, fine. I'm going to put a little rubber grommet in there, just kind of dress it up a little bit. Now your 6-pole bracket that comes in your kit is going to come with some hardware to get that put in place. Get that tightened down. Now with our bracket in place, our 6-pole plug, take a black marker, paint marker, whatever you want to use. Put a little mark there, kind of lined up with the back of your plug here, or the boot on your plug. Make sure you don't go too high, because if you go too high, then you're going to go right through the plastic and it's going to hit your base plate. So you can use a drill bit. I'm going to use a step bit, and I've got it marked at 5/8 to make sure that my grommet's going to fit in there. Let me route my wire to the back of the vehicle real quick, and I'll show you how I did it. So I'm going to feed my wire through my grommet, and I'm going to pull it all through like this. I'm just going to wrap it up here like this. This is going to leave me extra once I mount my 6-pole plug on there in my wiring. So through my grommet, I've come over top of my base plate. You can see I ran it on the inside of my frame rail. right up here, right up behind my headlight, into my engine compartment. So I run it right here, ran it behind this plastic panel, right over next to my battery. I bundled up just a little bit for a braking system, and then right on the back corner here, it's wide open straight down to the floor. So I dropped my wire down there. I actually ran an airline tube through my frame rail on the inside. You can see my wire. I've got it run inside, file the frame rail back, and I've got it coming out right here. Originally I had my wire coming out right here. There's actually a hole directly on top of the frame rail. When I had my wire coming down here, I was trying to figure out how I was going to route it up to my tail light, but there's a lot of stuff that moves here. So what I did is I just took my wire, because it's pretty stiff, and I just pushed it straight up and brought it right out the top of this hole. Now I can route it on my frame rail or straight up to my tail light, and it stays out of the way of everything. We're going to take a Phillips screwdriver. We're going to remove the screws holding our tail light in place. Tail light, you're going to pull from this side, kind of push in at the same time, like that. These two little clips here are going to clip on this edge. Unplug your tail light, push in, pull out. Once you take your tail light out, inside that pocket there's actually a cap down on the bottom. This is the underneath of it. We're going to drill a small enough hole, just big enough to fit our wire through, because there's nowhere else to go through over here. You can use a small drill bit. Again, I'm going to use a step bit that I had out earlier. You are going to have a little bit of foam inside there. That's all right, you can just pull it aside. Let's see if I get this in there. Good. So you can see the foam down in there. Just push some of the foam out of the way and pull your wire up. Now what we're going to do from here is we're going to split all of our wires. I split them all the way down to where the hole is. I'm going to take my yellow wire, I'm going to go back through the hole. Yellow wire, we're going to route over to our driver's side. Since our white wire is our ground wire, I'm actually just going to ground it right here. Cut it down, strip it back, put on your ring terminal that comes in your kit. Now we'll take a 5/16 socket. Now we need to pull back our wire loom to expose our wires here. And we're going to need to test our wiring to figure out what our turn signals and brake lights are and what our running lights are. So we've determined through testing that this white wire with this purple stripe is going to be our running lights. This yellow wire with the white stripe is going to be our brake signal and turn signal. So now we're going to add on our diodes. We're going to start with our brake light and our turn signal. What we're going to do is we're going to cut that wire in half. We're going to strip back both ends. Take your diode, we're going to take one side off. We'll add it on to one side here. Add on to the other end. Now we're going to take our green wire, cut it down, take off our terminal from the other side there. We're going to add it on. Take our diode, we want the out to go towards the tail light. Plug them in. And our green one will go right here on the other side. And we'll do the same thing with our running lights. Now with this one, we're going to have two blue and one kind of yellowish color butt connector. Save that one for just a second and I'll show you how to put that one on. Now, for this yellow one, this brown wire here. This brown wire is for our running lights. We're going to cut this wire, but the other end, we're actually going to tie these two together. So we're going to strip back both of them, give yourself enough extra. I'm actually going to pass this up because my hand can't fit in there to push it down through that hole. Take the two ends. Take this yellow side, and of course out goes towards the plug or towards the tail light. I'm actually going to take these two I'm going to stick them together like this. So now with our two stuck together, I'll peel off the other one. And you just want to make sure that you have enough room that when you stick these on, you have enough room to plug your light back in. Make sure you press them firmly into place so that they hold. Now we can reinstall our light. My brown and yellow wire that I'm routing over to my driver's side, I went over top of my frame rail, right here to the back side where my hitch is attached. And you can see I ran it right behind this bracket, ran it right across top of this outside frame rail, over top of my frame rail here. Our driver's side is going to be a little bit different than our passenger side. Our driver's side is going to have this foam pad here. Where this foam pad is goes right up to the pocket right behind our tail light. You can see where I ran my wires right up onto the top of it. Now, as I mentioned, our driver's side is a little bit different than our passenger. Our driver's side is actually going to have 3 plugs. This one actually mounts to the back of the tail light. Then you have 2 plugs. One plugs into here, one plugs into here. The one we want, you notice, one's got 5 prongs in it. One has 4 prongs in it. We want the one that has 5 prongs. And we've determined that the white wire with the green stripe is going to be our brake light and turn signal, and the white wire with the red stripe is going to be our running lights. Now we're going to make those connections the same way we did on the other side with our diodes. Other thing that's going to be different over on the driver's side is our brown wire that we had double on the passenger side. We're only going to have a single brown wire over here. That's because we're using this as a jumper from the passenger side. Other than that, everything else connects just the same. Just like that. One thing you're going to notice is that there's not a whole lot of room. This wire won't come out anymore. If we push it in too far, you're not going to get the connection on the tail light to mount this. So I stuck the two together. What I may end up doing is maybe zip tying it right to this line. What we don't want is we don't want these to be banging up against the sides. I don't think they will. I don't think there's enough room for them to move off the back of the tail light. I think they'll be okay, like this. Now you just want to make sure when you plug your lights back in, you get the right plug, the one with the 4 prongs, with the plug that has the 4 wires. Now we've left ourselves some extra. We're going to go ahead and cut it off about here. Kind of split the ends here. Take your rubber boot and slide your boot on first, skinny in towards the vehicle. So push it right back in there. And we're going to take our plug, and on the back of our plug, it's actually going to tell us what goes where. GD is going to be our ground wire, LT left turn, RT right turn, TM is going to be our running lights. We'll strip back our wires. Take a small flathead or Phillips screwdriver. And we don't want to take these screws all the way out. They are small and they're easy to lose. So we'll just loosen up the ones that we need, enough to get our wire inside. I'm going to start with my lowest one here. This is my right turn. It's going to be my green wire. And you can see how much I have stripped back here. I don't like to strip it back too far because I don't like the wire hanging out. I just want it enough that the screw is hitting the wire but not hitting the coating on it. Left turn. Take some dielectric grease. We're going to cover our connections. It's going to help keep them from corroding or building up anything that might cause an electrical issue. Take your boot, slide it right over the top like that. My wire loom, I've cut it down to length. Go ahead and put that on. We'll take electrical tape. We're going to go right around this front edge of the boot. I'm just going to go all the way down, right over the top of my wire loom. Once you make all your connections, go ahead and mount your 6-pole plug with your the screws and the bolts, or screws and the nuts that come with your kit. Now we're going to test out our wiring using an alternate power source. This is going to simulate being hooked up to your RV. Tail lights, left turn, brake lights, right turn. That'll do it for a look at and installation on the Roadmaster Diode 7 to 6 wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit, part number RM-15267 on our 2013 Jeep Wrangler.